Boom. Look at that. Look at that biceps. Look at those biceps. Frick, I'm fired up this morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live. It is time to get it crackins. Today has been good. I went to go drop off my son yet again. It's my weekend with my son, my boy, and my daughter, I guess I would call her, right? Whoa. Some people are going to get triggered by that. She's my stepdaughter is what I call her my daughter, just because it's my girlfriend's daughter, her biological daughter, not my biological daughter, but I still call her my daughter because I care for her as my daughter. So we have them this weekend, and my mom and I have this routine actually where my mom comes over in the mornings. I have my son most days, and we go drop off my son together. I think it's important to live in a family environment and to be around family a lot. So my mom and we go drop off my son when I have him. So that's that. And then we dropped off Izzy, my daughter, at her babysitter, her caretaker's house for the day. And then I have a speaking engagement that I have to go do at 12:30, something like that. So today is tight. Today is going to be real tight. Yeah, I gotta go speak to kids in not the inner city. Speak to kids in South Milwaukee who are from, not the greatest circumstances. Kids that kind of came up like me, except a little bit worse, I would say. And go talk to them about their dreams and aspirations. And because I'm a business owner and I do social media stuff, my friend who is one of the top administrators at the school was like, I'd really appreciate if you could come in and talk to these kids, show them what it's about, give them some hope, blah, blah, blah. So basically, because I'm half Mexican and I come from rags and I come from the mud, she asked me to talk to them about, following your dreams and stuff like that. So I'm going to go talk to some high school age kids today about just that, and try to get them to not go to college. Actually, I don't know if it's high school or if it's middle school. I think it's middle school. I see some people in the live. If you are watching this, if you're viewing this live, hit that like button. We're going to wait a couple minutes, but we are going to talk today about heart rate. Also, I'm really, really excited to let you guys know this. I worked for so long yesterday. I worked so long and so hard on the program for the POTS track thing. I've come up with resources for it's I am going to have the most built out POTS resource online training thing that you could ever imagine in your life. I'm going to have the most built out thing. Right now, I'm almost done with my website. Let me see. Okay. So number one, I'm almost done with the website. I just have to pay for the subscription. I have to pay to have the website. I'm almost done with that. And then I didn't realize how many things on my app could be automated. I didn't understand what the power that is my app. And so yesterday I was looking at all this stuff on my community forums. Okay, I understand that. And resource collections. What is this? So I go on here and basically I can create documents on the app for people that are in the auto or the track, the self-study type thing, or the I don't know how to say it, the at your own pace, the workout at your own pace part of the app. And for my clients, I put you all in the same community on there. It's just a little bit different how I separate the things. but I can put all these resources like PDFs and links to supplements and stuff like that. I have a document here that's hydration strategies. I have one that's step count goals and why steps are so important. I have a document with dealing with flares. Today I'm going to work on, once I get back, I'm going to work on the heat tolerance stuff. Like, how do you manage heat tolerance? Because I think that so much of this stuff is like hard to find on the internet, right? Like, people talk about it. People talk about, like, I have videos on this stuff, but if you're a part of the app, you probably want to go directly to me and ask, how do I do all this stuff? And to be completely fair and honest, it's like, I can't talk to every person that's going to be on it. And if you need questions answered right away, well, you have these resources now. You have these PDFs. I've already made the PDF for the hydration strategies. I've already made the PDF for the step count goals. I've already made the PDF for the dealing with a flare. Now it's heat tolerance. So it's just trying to figure out what other questions people want to know so that I can actually make a document for it and plug it into the app, and you guys just have access to it. You never have to come to me, although I want you to, but you don't have to come to me. You just will have all the information on this thing on your phone. So instead of like, guessing and doing the guesswork and trying to figure out what to Google or what to type into YouTube, what do I type into YouTube? It's all there. It's boom, right in my app. That's it. And it's for a small charge, small cost. And then on top of that, I have links to the supplement recommendations that I really recommend. So far there's only 2. To be quite honest, the reason why there's only 2 is because I'm only affiliated with 2. And the 2, actually, I'm not affiliated with Element. I'm not affiliated with Element whatsoever. If somebody makes their first purchase of Element through my link, then I get a box of Element, like just 130 pack. And that's enough for me. That's dope. And then eventually I'll probably become part of their ambassador program, but just being fully transparent with you guys. And then Thursday is the sleep supplement. That's the only other supplement that I recommend people besides Redmond's Relight, their hydration formula. And I do get a kickback from that. But so I have all the supplements that I think that you guys should be taking. I'm going to put in, lifestyle recommendation PDF. All aside from that, there's like, I can make, I don't know. There's so many things that I can put in this app for people as a resource. It's crazy. So this is going to be the most built out program for POTS that you can find. The most resources, when I get access to those people that I was talking to you guys about, as soon as I feel confident enough to like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's the program that I have. I'm going to build it out and then ask them for, their input. All right, we're going to get started on heart rate soon. Heart rate and POTS. Just housekeeping. I wanted to give you guys information on that real quick, and now we are going to get into heart rate and POTS. If you're still in this live, please let me know. Put like a W in the chat or something. Just type something so I know that I can start, so I can go. It's hard with YouTube lives because I will have like, what's it called? Like it will tell me that there's 0 people viewing, right? But then suddenly out of nowhere, it jumps up to like 10. And I'm like, oh, well, what the heck? I should have been, it's confusing sometimes. So. Talk about this, you guys might see me Googling. You might find me Googling, and that's just because I want to make sure that I'm checking sources and all that. So, okay, here we go. So, Heart rate and POTS. Heart rate and POTS. What's the deal with it? I have another video today coming out about this, actually. I have a video of me going through a workout and showing you guys my workout throughout the entirety of the video. Now, I don't tend to watch my heart rate during workouts for a couple of reasons. Number one, I already know that I have POTS and I know that I'm going to see some weird fluctuations. I know that things are going to look a little bit strange. Number two, your heart rate during a workout, unless you have an intent behind having a certain heart rate in a workout, is not going to affect your workout most times. Sometimes it will if you're somebody who's like, I don't know, if you have actual like real heart issues, that's probably the only reason that you should be checking your heart rate frequently during a workout to know if you're having some sort of dysfunction. And then number three, the number three reason why I don't watch my heart rate during a workout is because I know that people with POTS, and myself included, can get freaked out by the data, right? But it's not based in logic. It's not based in objective fact or truth or anything that's really worrisome. Where I get worried about people tracking their heart rate with POTS is that I think what can happen is people can overwork themselves due to having a too low of a heart rate during a workout, and people can also underwork themselves during a workout. So rather, what I like to focus on is what is the intended stimulus of the workout, and how do we get there? For example, with zone 2, usually that's classified by a certain percentage of heart rate during a workout, and that can be super beneficial. Typically not for people with POTS in the beginning of their journey to remission, right? It's typically not beneficial to track the workout and to track their heart rate and to follow a zone 2 percentage heart rate during a workout, because sometimes for people, and I've experienced this like so many times with my clients that have POTS, most times actually I would venture to say, and this might be getting kind of confident, but most times people with POTS will have a high heart rate doing very non-trivial tasks. So I have one client who's in the app. He put his experience. Let me just read you guys this real quick. It's not anything crazy, but he says part of his testimonial is, when I first started, I could barely walk for 3 to 5 minutes without my heart rate reaching 180 to 200. For most people, that would be super worrisome, right? And for me, it's not worrisome, but that's just because of my experience in the, exercise world, in, training and stuff like that. It's not worrisome to me. However, him getting up and walking around for 3 to 5 minutes at a 180 to 200 heart rate, that's not zone 2 cardio. It's not zone 2 cardio at all. So rather, when it comes to zone 2 cardio for people with POTS, I've kind of reclassified what I think that should mean for you. And what I think that should mean for you, it actually comes from my training camp that I'm a client under, basically, Training Think Tank. Their big thing is, when it comes to zone 2 cardio, is having a conversation, having a prolonged conversation. I think that that's a great metric to classify zone 2 cardio with, because there are 100 reasons why your heart rate, even as a person who's not suffering with chronic illness, there's 100 reasons why your heart rate could either be high someday or low. You could be fighting infection. You could be undernutritioned. You could be underhydrated. You could, your electrolyte status could be off. You could have had a high caloric meal, and that's causing your heart rate to be high. So rather, what we should be focusing on, especially people with POTS, when you know that you have so many variances that can happen in a day, in an hour, in a minute with your heart rate, can you have a prolonged conversation while doing your cardio? If you can hold a conversation while doing cardio, you're in the zone that you need to be in. You're in the zone that's going to build your aerobic base. You're in the zone that's going to build your aerobic capacity. And that, first and foremost, is what we want to do, right? So that's one reason. I know it was kind of long-winded, but that's one reason why I don't believe that you should be tracking your heart rate during workouts, and why I don't believe heart rate with POTS is super important. Again, we already know that you're going to have some sort of dysfunction, some sort of like weird, like when you're tracking, it's going to go up to 170 for a second, it's going to come back down to 120. We already know that that type of stuff is going to happen. And where the thought of tracking heart rate comes from for most people with POTS, in my experience, is the anxiety of the heart rate. But there's no actual logical reasoning for you to be worried about your heart rate reaching high numbers. And people tell me all the time with POTS, my heart rate got to 150 to 160. That's super high. Isn't that concerning? No. Why is that concerning to you? That's a real, very, very normal heart rate zone to be in, especially when you're working out. And not to mention, if you have POTS and you're working out and it reaches 150 to 160, that's not high at all. I just said in my last live that one of my friends actually posted on Instagram on his story. I don't know the context or what the workout was, but he posted his heart rate, his average heart rate, or his metrics after on his story, and his top heart rate was like 207. It was 207. But a normal person who's fit, healthy, and doesn't have a chronic illness like POTS is not worrying about that. They're just like, oh wow, what does that mean? They don't think about it ever again. They see the number and they never think about it ever again. People with POTS, there's an anxiety component tied to the heart rate. It has nothing to do with reality. It's just an anxiety portion of it, right? An anxiety component. They're like, 160? Isn't your resting heart rate supposed to be like 70? And then they're freaking out. But it's like, yeah, you were working out. Yeah, you climbed a flight of stairs. Duh. Like, of course your heart rate's going to be high. There's nothing crazy about that. Beth Berry, it might not feel great at 160, but it's just a moment in time. Yeah, and I would even venture to say that it probably doesn't feel like anything, because how would you know unless you looked at your heart rate and then you're like, oh, I feel weird. So what my concern is that with people with POTS, create symptoms or create scenarios based on what they're seeing, based on what they're viewing in life, right? A lot of times the symptoms come after. They come after what they've seen and not before or not with. And there are those instances where people they have the symptom and then they check their heart rate, but then the symptom gets exacerbated, right? And that's another reason why I'm like, exactly, Beth Berry, true. I don't feel it most of the time. And that's just from my experience. But there are those instances where you do feel it. But there's more times than not those instances where you feel a symptom and nothing is happening. There's no high heart rate. There's no high blood pressure. There's no whatever. It's just you felt something off. You felt something weird. And guess what? People who don't live in chronic illness, people who don't live with POTS, they feel weird all the time. They just have nothing to associate it with. So it's just kind of like it goes in one ear and out the other, if you get what I'm saying. Like nothing happens. Nothing happens. So I guess the whole point to that right there is basically, if there is no intent, if there's no heart rate intention, right? If you're not somebody who's been in remission, who's got things under control, if you don't have an intended workout that requires you being in a certain zone, there's no reason to track your heart rate unless the doctor's actually concerned and they think that you might have something else that's not POTS. But if the doctor tells you that your POTS, your echocardiogram checks out, you had an ultrasound of your heart and there's no blockage, there's nothing wrong, don't track your heart rate. There's literally no reason to. The thing that's winning is the anxiety. The anxiety is winning. It's telling you to check your heart rate, but there's no reason. I've had it for 20 years. Nothing has happened. Yep. Yeah, I know. Well, good. Awesome. I'm happy for you. But that's exactly the point, right? That's exactly the point, is that, man, people POTS is just littered with, and this isn't a bad thing. It's just something that people with POTS need to understand and they need to work with and they need to learn, is that the POTS community, people who have POTS, are littered with people who are also anxious. And I've said this a million times. I don't know how many more times I can say it or that I will say it. I'll continue to say it forever, is that there is an anxiety portion to POTS that people with POTS refuse to acknowledge. They refuse to acknowledge because they feel gaslit by the medical community, and partially, I guess it's true, but the doctors are also telling the truth. So it might be true that there's something wrong, but it also is true that there's anxiety involved. And so it's not really gaslighting when a doctor's right about half of it. And so what happens in my experience a lot of times is people are anxious, they feel a symptom. They feel a symptom, it adds to the anxiety. Or people feel a symptom, they become anxious, the anxiousness adds to the symptom. That's always kind of the order of operations, both of those two options. But there is anxiety in POTS and people don't want to refuse it. But there's a reason why when you're prescribed an SSRI that this stuff works for people with POTS. It's and my girlfriend, Heather, she said something about it communicating with nerves or whatever, and maybe it has some effect on the vagus nerve or something like that. But there's also the component that SSRIs work for a large percentage of the population in general. So it's going to work for somebody with POTS too, right? Now, I'm not suggesting that anybody takes that because I'm not down with that. I'm not on board, but I'm just saying there's a mechanism why it works. And it's because people with POTS have anxiety. Generally, you see a lot of these influencers now, they embrace that actually, but they won't admit that that's part of their issue with POTS, but they embrace the fact that they have trauma, PTSD, OCD, anxiety, depression. They put it in their bios and stuff, but then they always talk about how doctors are just gaslighting them all the time. It's like, well, are they? Or should we be more responsible for ourselves and admit that this is something that I need to get under control as well? Like this live if you are enjoying it, if you're learning something. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We're going to keep going. I got a couple more points that I want to make with heart rate. Ask questions too. Add in the chat what you're thinking. Tell me if you think I'm wrong about any of the stuff that I'm talking about. The second portion of this that I really want to touch on that I think is really important is that your heart rate is super variable depending on the day. And this isn't just people with POTS. This is also normal, regular, healthy, or otherwise healthy people. There could be literally 100 different reasons why your heart rate is high one day, why it's low another day, why it seems to be perfect on some days, and why it's up and down on other days. Something that I think people don't really take much into consideration is their nutrition status and how that affects their heart rate. What foods don't agree with you? What foods don't sit with you? And not in the sense that you're throwing up or you're having an allergic reaction, or like even foods that don't show up on food sensitivity tests, but some foods will cause your heart rate to go higher. I'll give you guys a perfect example. An example. I got a food sensitivity test a couple months ago. I got a whole bunch of blood work done, food sensitivity test. And it showed that I didn't have any allergies to any foods besides a little bit to corn, like a little bit of sensitivity to corn. But I know for a fact that peanut butter and almonds raise my heart rate. I know that. Or maybe it doesn't raise my heart rate, but for some reason it makes me feel my heart rate more about 10 to 20 minutes after. The trade-off is there for me. I like peanut butter, I like almonds. So the trade-off is there for me. I'll suffer through that. It's not even suffering because I know what's happening. But I'll embrace that because I like those things. But that is one thing that tends to raise my heart rate, is when I have something with almonds in it or I have something with peanut butter. And I'm okay with that. The other thing is, how much water have you drunk? How much water have you had in a day? That has huge implications on whether your heart rate is going to be high or low. How much electrolytes are you supplementing with? Are you supplementing with not enough sodium? Because that's going to have a huge impact on you, especially if you have POTS syndrome. How about, are you having too much potassium? Are you having too little potassium? Those all have some sort of effect on your heart rate. And how well did you sleep? What's your heart rate variability? Are you recovering? Like, there's so many different things that go into this equation when it comes to heart rate, especially with somebody that has POTS, especially with somebody with POTS that, when I talk to clients, a lot of times I like to talk about this concept of interoception, which is the idea that you are able to feel more in tune with your body than most people, interoception. That I think that a lot of people with POTS are dealing with that interoception. And so they're just noticing stuff more, right? They're noticing stuff more. To be honest with you, I just completely lost my train of thought because I heard the door slam. Okay. Yeah, so even then, it might not be that your heart rate is going faster, it's beating harder or anything like that. It might be normal. You're just having a day where you're a lot more aware. Jazan. Dude, Jazan, you're always in here. I love it. Thanks for being here. The issue with gaslighting is when people only get sent to a psychologist and don't get any help or education at all on other conditions. Jazan, I'm going to push back a little bit there. I agree with you to an extent. Doctors only, I don't know how it is where you're at, but here in the States, I don't think you're in the States, but here in the States, the medical system is set up so much that the doctors literally only have like 10 minutes with you. There's not much they can do. And they have to make special requests basically for you to go see specialists. And specialists are very overrun, and it's really hard to get into a specialist. Now, I'm not at all a fan of Western medicine or how the medical system is set up, but I think that doctors get demonized far too much, and the responsibility is not really put on the patient. It's my opinion that it's your job. It's not the doctor's job. It's your job to be your own health advocate and to stand up for yourself and to get what you need. It's not the doctor's job. They're doing the best with what they have, the time that they have, the resources that they have in the clinic, and the people that they have access to. So it's your job to tell the doctor, no, I want a referral, and then getting the referral. And if that doctor doesn't want to get you the referral, then you need to report the doctor, or you need to find a different PC or what's it called? PCP, primary care physician. Then you need to find another PCP. But I don't think that we can put this on doctors, right? And also, I don't think that it's necessarily wrong for them to refer you to a psychologist first to see and make sure if they've done everything in clinic, blood pressure, heart rate, any sort of blood testing, stuff like that. I don't think that's necessarily wrong. It's just not what you want, but that doesn't make it wrong. It's just not what you want. And so if it's not what you want, then it's your job from there to be like, hey, no, I need to do this. You're going to get me the referral to go. And again, I'm not saying that I think that doctors are great. I'm not saying that they don't gaslight, but I'm saying more often than not, they're just doing the best with what they can, especially here in the States. They are so overworked. There's so much stuff going on. It's crazy. I'm going to read the rest of your chats after this response. Gaslighting is when you say, I experienced this. The doctor says, no, you don't. Have you ever had that? Have you ever actually had that experience? I have never once talked to somebody that's had that experience specifically saying, no, you don't feel this thing. The doctor has always just said something like it. We've like you're not showing any problems in the tests. Okay, if it's happened to you, then I'm really sorry that that's happened to you. I haven't worked with anybody that's actually had that experience. I've only worked with people that have like gone to the doctor, said what they're experiencing, and the doctor's like, via our testing, you're fine. Like everything checks out, but I've never had anybody actually go to the doctor and tell them that they're feeling something, and the doctor's like, no, you're not. I've never, ever had that. And it could be, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. If it happened to you, I'm really sorry that happened to you. I'm just saying that I've never had a client that had that. They always describe gaslighting as the doctor did all the tests, but they're telling me that I'm fine. You know what I mean? That's what I have experienced with clients. With my, and maybe I didn't read your other chat, so I don't know. With my ME/CFS, it's good for me to check my heart rate because when I give above my aerobic threshold, I get PEMS easily. Staying under 110 benefits me greatly in terms of not getting fatigued and avoiding PEM. Okay, my question for you, Jazan, is I don't know if you were on in the beginning of this live, but have you ever noticed if when you get above that threshold, if it's hard for you to have a conversation during that? And I'm not saying again that your strategy isn't what works, but have you noticed if it's hard for you to have a conversation? Because how I generally approach zone 2 cardio with people with POTS, and this is written up in the program too, is that if you can have a prolonged conversation, like a conversation like if you and I were just sitting and talking, if you can have a conversation while exercising, that's generally the thing that I want you to do, as opposed to tracking your heart rate, because tracking your heart rate usually doesn't just stop with the workout for most people with POTS. It usually doesn't stop there. And so my whole thought is to get rid of the habit so that it doesn't show up in your actual life as well. That's why I'm a big proponent for not doing that, because you'll see so many people, and I've experienced this a lot with my clients, that they are obsessed over their heart rate, and they will sit and watch TV and have their heart rate monitor going and then be like, Jazan, above my threshold, feel fine. I have no issues. PM starts 1 to 2 days after having done too much, so I only start suffering then. Yeah, that's pretty common for yeah. Beth Berry, if you're very deconditioned, do you start slow and build up? I just get exhausted the next day. Yeah. Do you work with people who are starting at 0? Yep, Beth, I do. And also I have, if you want 2 free weeks to my app and to my training protocol, where it's specifically made for people that are starting from ground zero, go in the description here. I think that it's in the description. Yep. Go in the description, click the link, sign up. You get 2 free weeks of the training protocol. Along with that, you get a bunch of documents in the resources that help you navigate everything. I have hydration protocols. I have lifestyle protocols. I have supplement recommendations. I have a whole bunch of stuff. And if you feel like you need anything further than that, like one-on-one coaching, you can feel free to DM me at, on the app, actually. If you sign up on the app, you can message me privately on the app if you want to do one-on-one coaching. So, Jazan, Beth, if you're very deconditioned, do you start slow and build up? I just get exhausted the next day. Yeah, so this is also another document in my, dude, if you for real, just do the 2 weeks. Do the 2 weeks for free. I have the documents in there of why all that, I go over all of this, why all this is so important. I think oftentimes people with POTS, they look at, I need to get reconditioned, so that means that I need to start working out, like some sort of formal cardio. And that's just not the case. My approach to POTS is very slow, especially people working from ground zero. Like I've worked with people who were bedridden to going to normal life, like holding down a job, holding down physical jobs, really physical jobs. So I've worked with a whole host of people, all the way from bedridden to even people who are like a couple steps under me and just need extra help getting their fitness under control. And so what I do for people with ground zero is we always start with step count goals. We always do that. Why is that so important? Because having a step count goal, you can do it throughout the entire day. It doesn't need to be formal. It doesn't need to create any sort of systemic fatigue. It doesn't need to be a workout. So if I tell you get 3,000 steps in a day, that's a very small goal. It should actually take you probably around 30 minutes in total, maybe 45 if you're a very slow walker. 45 minutes, but you can break that up throughout the day. You can break it up into 3 15-minute stints of walking. You can break it up into 10 4.5 minute, whatever the math comes out to, right? But I always, every single time, even in the documents in the app, it says set a timer for every 30 to 45 minutes. And when that timer goes off, get up and walk around for 5 to 10 minutes. That's the best strategy. So it doesn't have to be a prolonged workout. And with people with POTS, they think that reconditioning just means getting on a treadmill, getting on a recumbent bike. That's why I don't like the CHOPS protocol, because it's so formal. But for some people with POTS starting from ground zero, you don't even have the energy to start with formal cardio. So how do you combat that? You get steps throughout the day. Steps, bar none, even for someone like me, is one of the best ways to build your aerobic base and to get activity throughout the day. I average 15,000 steps a day. 12 to 15,000 steps a day is what I average. And it's such a good way to keep your weight under control, to keep your insulin under control, to help with your digestion. There's so much research and data behind having high step counts that it's irrefutable. It's irrefutable. It's one of the best ways. The other thing is, getting back to the heart rate, people with POTS generally, if you're getting steps in, you're in the zone that you need to be in for building your aerobic capacity. In general, people with POTS, when they just go for a walk, they're in the zone that they need to be to build up their capacity, their aerobic base, which is amazing. And if you can do that a few times a day or a bunch of times a day, why would you not take advantage of that? It's probably not going to get you in a place where you feel like you're going to have a crash a couple days later or tomorrow or whatever. And so, Jazan, when you say this right here, that, you have a aerobic threshold, you have a heart rate threshold or whatever, right? I think that, and I don't know anything about your personal experience, but I've had people come to me with the same thing, before they get on with coaching with me, but a lot of times what they're doing is they're doing too much formal cardio and they're not taking a step back and thinking about, how can I attack this without having a flare up? And so I generally, dude, I'm going to put you guys completely on game. I'll just read this. So a couple of my tips in this document here for the steps, right, is that we've talked about the heart rate component already. You're probably in the heart rate zone. Beth, you're exactly right. We're already in the zone just being upright. Completely true. So I say, in general, I recommend 5K steps a day on average before introducing any mid to higher intensity cardio. The ultimate goal of 8 to 10K steps a day when getting back to normal life. I think that 8 to 10K steps a day is a good rule of thumb in general, because normal people can handle that, and normal people won't feel any type of way doing 8 to 10K steps. And in general, when I get somebody to 8 to 10K steps a day, I can do so much with them. Then I can put them back in the gym. They can start actually getting conditioned. Like, I can do like little intervals with them now. I can have them do weightlifting intervals. I can do so many things. It's been my experience. It's been what I have observed. And I think oftentimes, and I've dealt with this with a couple clients as of recently, actually, is that they want to jump into formal cardio right away, but then they find themselves crashing, and they find themselves having issues and they can't handle formal cardio. Well, it's because, you haven't built your aerobic base yet. So why would we get on a treadmill for 30 minutes if you can't even handle walking for 10? Why would we get on a rowing machine or a bike for 20 minutes if you can't even handle walking for 5 minutes? You can't even handle that yet. So why are we rushing the process? It's always about this. It's always about taking a couple steps back, thinking about what happens, right? And then reintroducing things slowly and reacclimating your body to stressors. People with POTS don't think about that. You have to think about this from an exercise science point of view, from an exercise physiology view. Progressive overload is the idea that you are introducing new stimulus over time, volume, reps, weight, poundage over time, right? The same thing goes for aerobic capacity, for an aerobic base. You have to build up slowly over time. If you don't, you are going to run into issues. You are. And it may not feel bad for you while you're doing it. Just like Jazan described, it might not feel bad while you're doing it, but then you feel the effect tomorrow, or you feel the effect in 2 days. That's why I'm always I'm hyper focused on do a little bit now. You don't need to feel like you worked out in order to create a stimulus, in order to create an effect. It's like so many people want to, with bodybuilding or powerlifting or CrossFit, they want to jam their head through a wall. They think that that's just going to be the best way to get results. And all of the best coaches say, that's not it. There's a time and place. And that's the same thing with POTS. There is a time and place to push, but it's not when you're trying to recover. If you haven't gotten to a place where you can't drive your car down the road, or you can't go to a grocery store and pick up groceries and stuff like that, you're not there yet. You're not at a place to jam your head through a wall. You're not even in the place to walk on a treadmill for 30 minutes on an incline. Like things that we see people doing, like normal people doing that don't look high stress, are high stress for people with chronic illness. It can be high stress rather. Depends on where you're at. So anyway, Beth Berry, yes, stressors build up ability to get overheated. Absolutely, 100%. I would love to get 8 to 10K steps. Beth, go hit that link in the description. I promise you'll get there. I promise. My do-it-yourself track, the auto flow track that I like, you know, you go in and you follow the program and it's, you know, slow paced or whatever. It will get you there. It will get you there. I'm not like, it will get you there. My only issue is with doing the auto flow that people do, the do-it-yourself, the you know, your own, go at your own pace thing. The only issue that I have is that I can't have control over everything else. Like I even have clients of mine that will do extra. And I'm like, stop doing extra. Don't do extra. I know you feel good, but do not do extra. There's no point. Wait. Just wait. We'll get there. You'll get there. Do everything in a progressive manner. You'll get there. But be patient. Go slow. So Beth, hit that link. Seriously, do it. You're going to find results in there. Jazand, how many steps do you generally add per how much time? So it really depends. It depends on the individual. It depends on where you're starting from. Jazan, I don't remember if are you from the States? I think that you're the one that couldn't sign up, right? Okay. A good rule of thumb, I think, to go by from the Netherlands. That's right. I think a good rule of thumb to go by could be anywhere between 250 to 500 steps per day to progress by. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. There are people who can, you know, add 1,000. There are people who can add 2,000. But in general, what I think the progression needs to look like is that you have done X amount of steps for, you've done X amount of steps for a week to 2 weeks. 1 week to 2 weeks, and you know that you're not having any flare-ups, you know that it's not causing you any sort of issues, and you're not doing anything else. Once you've done that, or if you do something else, you're not increasing the intensity of the thing that you've already been doing. That I think is really important. So if you know what works for you already, you've been doing something and you decide that you want to do a step count too, and you're not going to pull back from the other stuff, my advice to you would be to pull back from the other stuff for a couple of weeks and just focus on steps. But if you're not going to do that, then don't add anything extra to stress you out. Just do what you've been doing. Don't try to progress in that yet. Just do what you've been doing, hold that fitness, and then get the step count. So for example, if you're going to make your step count, your step goal, 2,000 steps a day. Okay. And that can be handled anyway. You could do it in 5-minute stints every 45 minutes to an hour. You could do it in one go if you want. I wouldn't recommend that because you have POTS and all this stuff, but I would recommend breaking it up throughout the day. So you've done that for a week. You know for a fact, like this is working. Nothing is going wrong with me. I feel good. I'm thriving. You can either choose to do that for another week for insurance, or you can up it by a small amount, which would be like 250 to 500 steps. Repeat. Just keep repeating that cycle. Repeat that cycle until you get up to an amount that's comfortable for you. And I wouldn't be able to tell you what that amount is because I'm not you. I'm not dealing with, I'm not working with you. So I don't know what it is. But Jazan, I think that if we work together, we'd have a lot of success. So I don't know how that would look because you're in the Netherlands or stuff, but you're able to get on at this time of day. It would work for me. Probably would work for you. I just don't know how everything else goes. So, or you can just take the advice that I've been doing. Beth, I'll do it. I'm ready. I've had a deconditioning setback after being sick for a few months. All right, let's go. Come on, let's get you reconditioned. The beginning of the program is very slow. You're going to be bored. And it will work for you even if you have the flu. I should let me retract that statement just in case. I don't want to get sued or anything, but it's very slow. It's very easy. You can literally handle the amount of work that's in there, and you can handle the amount of work that's in the program by walking to your refrigerator. I actually say that. So I say that in one of the documents. Where did I leave off from heart rate? I think I left off at not tracking heart rate due to man. Where did I leave off? What was I saying? I think I left off saying that it's variable depending on lifestyle circumstances and stuff. Yeah. Yep. All right. So that's where I left off. Now, okay, the third and basically final reason why, and I briefly mentioned this, the third and final reason why I like boring. LO. There you go, Beth. Hit that link. The third and final reason why I don't like people with POTS tracking their heart rate, and I glazed over this like super quickly before, was man, oh man, does it become an obsession. And does it become an obsession for a lot of people outside of working out? And that's what I think the biggest issue is that it becomes obsessive. And I think that people with POTS like to convince themselves that they're not being obsessive and that they're not, that they are looking at it at appropriate times. But holy cow, have I had to tell a number of clients to get rid of their fitness tracker and only use their phone so that they can track their steps. Holy crap, have I had to talk to a lot of people about that. And it consumes them. It consumes them. They will be doing a workout and then they would stop because like everything might be going well. There's no symptoms. There's nothing dangerous. Mind you, with POTS, there's nothing dangerous happening in general, most times, right? Most times, unless you have another condition that it's, coupled with. So they end up just tracking it all the time, or they stop their workout because their heart rate is too low or it's too high. So it's like, just throw the thing out. You already know there's nothing dangerous going. Get rid of the fitness tracker and use your phone now for steps, because I don't want you to underwork yourself, because that's also not good, right? You're not going to get more conditioned by underworking yourself. So follow the parameters that we go by. There's actually science. There's actually research papers that show people with fitness trackers tend to have obsessions over the fitness trackers. And the other thing is here, I completely glossed over this. I didn't even say this. Most fitness trackers are wildly off. The only reason why they are good to have for like steps and stuff like that is because it's consistent data. So if something is consistently off, if it tells you that you get 7,000 steps a day, but actually you're getting 10,000 steps a day, that's better data than not knowing at all. That's the only reason why I wear this tracker, is because it gives me something to base data off of, but I don't take it extra seriously. It's like my step goal is 10,000 steps a day. So as long as this is saying that consistently, it's kind of like the diet thing, right? As long as you stay consistent, you're going to find results. So you're doing the same thing. Then you can add over time. But for people with POTS, it becomes obsessive. And even for people that don't have POTS, step counts become super obsessive. Hitting that ring goal becomes obsessive. All these different things, right? And they're wildly off. They are not accurate. They are wildly inaccurate for the most part. So that's the third and final reason why I don't like people wearing fitness trackers or tracking their heart rate, because it becomes obsessive. They'll stop a workout that they don't need to stop. Everything was fine, no symptoms, and they stop the workout, or they feel like they're not working hard enough and then they overwork themselves. Both of those are bad. The other portion of it is, after the workout is done, they'll be tracking their heart rate for the rest of the day to make sure their heart rate is coming back to normal. And then I get like messages, or I get comments even on my YouTube videos. Is it normal for my heart rate to not go down under 90 4 hours later after? I'm like, dude, what do you mean after 4 hours? What are you talking about? Why are you still tracking your heart rate? You already know that nothing is bad about that your heart rate is going to be variable because you have POTS. Why are you still paying attention to your heart rate after the workout? Why? So it becomes it becomes too obsessive. It consumes them. And then it's like another trip to the hospital and nothing's wrong. They do an echocardiogram. They do an ultrasound. Nothing's wrong. Again, you have POTS. We told you that. Oh, but wait. Let's make sure though. Did you make sure that you hydrated? Did you make sure that you had proper sodium levels? Did you make sure that you had that you were nutritioned well enough? Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's too much. I think that if you have that issue, throw the tracker away. Throw the tracker away because it's going to get in your way of making progress for certain. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. Technically, Justin. Wow, this is a name that I haven't seen in here yet. I'm just signing in. Would you say Apple Watch tracks heart rate okay for daily more than workouts? In the morning with POTS, my heart rate goes from 45 to 120 when I sit up, 26 mil. Hey, man. Yeah, so you missed a lot here, I think. The Apple Watch is fine for data. The Fitbit is fine for data. The Polar is fine for data. Any of those are fine for data. However, my guess is that you're consistently tracking your heart rate when you wake up. Stop doing it. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. You're gonna have to go back and watch the live for sure, unless you have more questions. You can feel free to ask the questions, but man, yeah, yeah. Don't stop tracking your heart rate when you wake up. There's no reason to. It's gonna add to the anxiety. The anxiety is gonna feel symptoms. Symptoms are gonna feel it. Haha, what's up, dude? Been following for a while. I'll make sure to go back and watch the video. Yeah, or like I said, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. Justin, if you're 26 and a male and you're like in a position where you feel like, you need direction, go hit that link in my description and click for 2 free weeks on the app. There's a bunch of resources in there now where you can read documents that I've written on heart rate, on hydration, supplement recommendations, lifestyle stuff, and you get a program. You get a program too. 2 free weeks after that, it'll be charged, or you can DM me, hit me up in the app and talk to me about like whether or not you need more specific coaching or anything like that. But I really think it could be a benefit to you, especially if you're saying that you're watching your heart rate, in the morning when you wake up. But yeah, feel free to ask your questions, guys. I'm going to sit on here for a little bit longer. Those were basically all the points that I find to be very important when it comes to heart rate and POTS. If you have more specific questions, please feel free to ask these questions. I have to go do a speaking engagement at a school in a little bit, but I want to try to sit on here and answer as many questions on this topic as possible. Justin, thanks, dude. I'll check it out. Awesome, man. Appreciate you. I'll see you in there. Along with that, you also get to be a part of the community in the forum, like a bunch of people just talking positively about this stuff. So I don't know if you spend any time on Reddit or Facebook groups or see these influencers that are all negative and talking about their bad symptoms and stuff. All the people in our community are super positive. They're going to try to uplift you every day, and they can relate. So they know how to, be positive with you. "46 ounces of water, an element." Second serving today. You guys hit me with some questions. Hit me with some questions real quick. We got to do a speaking engagement. I got to go talk to kids about their dreams in life and what they want to do. One of my friends asked me to come speak to their kids. She's an administrator at a school, like a principal or something like that. And because I own a business and do social media stuff, they asked me to come in, talk to the kids. I'm going to tell all those kids not to go to college. Don't go to college. Follow your dreams. Jazan. "Before I got worse, I remember pushing myself hard on the treadmill, and when reviewing everyone's max heart rate, I had 199. Do you have a max of what's acceptable?" I don't. I don't. I think that, no, I don't. I I have athletes. I train a lot of lacrosse athletes. I have athletes whose heart rates regularly get over 200. There's nothing wrong with that happening if it's a very acute period of time. So acute would mean even like 20, like 15 minutes. I just don't think that that's an issue. I've never seen any data to suggest otherwise. I've seen, if it gets uncontrollable, like 250, 270, like that's definitely not good. But a good example that I like to share with people is that during this competition called the Rogue Invitational that happens in CrossFit, I was there doing some podcast stuff, and one of the athletes said that they had to do a 1 mile ruck, some workout stuff in between that. Like, so that means having a weighted backpack on. They had to do an event where it was a 1 mile ruck run and then do a bunch of stuff in between after that. And then they had to do another like mile or something. I think it was something like that. But the girls had 45 pounds on their back. And one of the girls, she said in her post workout interview that her heart rate got to like 215 or something for quite a bit. And so that was her max heart rate for a while. So no, I don't think that's bad at all. I think that, again, people with POTS have a really hard time understanding what is acceptable and what's not, because you see a number and you're like, wow, that seems really high, but really it's not. Because again, I've had a bunch of clients say to me, my heart rate gets to 160. And I'm like, yeah, mine gets in the 180s frequently. And actually, it's probably a good thing that it gets that high for acute periods of time. So, no, I don't have a max heart rate. Okay, wait. Let me change my answer a little bit. When you are getting better, when you first start your journey to getting better, I don't think that your heart rate, your heart rate might get there, but I don't feel like you should have the intensity of your heart rate getting there. So you shouldn't be like extremely out of breath, overworked, feeling super fatigued and sore and stuff like that. That stuff you should stay away from. But if your heart rate just happens to get there by accident during you doing your steps or doing some sort of formal cardio that's like not intensive at all, that's not wrong. I don't think that that's bad. But if you're doing things that are super intense in nature, like you're doing a Metcon or you're doing some high intensity intervals in the beginning of trying to get better, then yeah, it shouldn't get up that high. Because intensity is the key component here. Sorry, sometimes I get too technical with my answers. Or I'll like say something, I'll be like, wait, no, there's nuances to that. I got to fix that. All right, keep asking questions, y'all. You can see we have a few people in here. I want to answer as many questions as I can. Boom, 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 boom. So does the $50 level give us access to you personally to ask questions and to tell you our progress? So this is a tough question kind of, because right now there's not a ton of people following that track. However, I'll tell you this, it wouldn't be fair to the clients that pay the one-on-one value, the one-on-one pricing for that tier, if I did do things like that. So it's not that you can't ask me questions. It's just that it's definitely not as accessible, right? So like my plan is to figure out a way to live stream just for people who are in that tier, and then you guys can ask questions, figure out that type of thing. But so right now you can ask me some questions for sure, but for the most part, it's very low contact, very small amount of contact. And I have all those forums in here and all the, what's it called? All of the resources that should answer a lot of your guys' questions, that type of thing. So the two forums that I have to work on today is heat tolerance and then heart rate. So the things that we're talking about right now, a bunch of that is going to go into a document for you guys to hear. But what I do want you to do is put your progress in the community forum, because that way I will see it. I can comment on it, address it, or if you have questions, put the questions in there. Now we do have ask questions during lives, but also ask questions in the forum. We do have rules, right, for the forum, for the community, that if you're being negative, right, or if you're asking leading questions that could feed other people's anxieties or even your anxieties, questions about, symptoms and stuff like that, that just, I don't know how else to say this besides don't need to be asked, then we don't allow any of that. There's moderators in there. There's people that are going to report and stuff like that. So basically what we want is, if you have questions on how do you guys deal with this stuff, but don't add this has been wrecking me, this has been blah, blah, blah. How do you guys go about dealing with this symptom or whatever? Has anybody else dealt with this? But everything is supposed to be in a positive light, a positive manner, right? So if you go in the forum and you ask a couple questions or whatever, you share your progress with other people, which is really what the forum is there for. I want people to share their progress, share their testimonies, share everything that's good, right? Or say how you combated a symptom today, that's a win thing. Then that's what I want you guys to do. And that's where I want you to put your questions. And that's where I want you to document your progress, is in the forum. But yeah, I go live basically every day at the same time, 9:30 a.m. every day, basically. Saturdays and Sundays are difficult because Saturday, to be frank, I do my own workouts, right? I have a big training day on that. Heat tolerance is part of the program. No. So I'm going to have a guide on how to build your heat tolerance. There's going to be a full guide in there on how to do that. That's something. So I worked with quite a few people that lived in Texas for a while. And I am super, super heat sensitive. So I have some very good strategies for building heat tolerance, based on those experiences. Texas, as you guys know, probably can get very hot, or not very hot. It does get very hot in the summer, very humid, stuff like that. So yeah, heat tolerance is going to be built into the program. And then you guys, because I can't prescribe you to go do sauna bathing. I can't prescribe you to go do steam showers and stuff like that. I can just give you how I think you should go about it when you're doing that. I practice sauna bathing almost every day. I've taken this week off, but I do sauna almost every day for heat tolerance. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of that information in there. It's so humid. It is. Jazand, by the way, I've sent you some info on CCI via Instagram, like I said I would last live. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll look into it today. At some point, I'll look into it today. I appreciate that. But yeah, like I said, Beth, the program is going, I said this in the beginning when nobody was in the live, actually. This program is going to be the most detailed, most resourceful program that you can find for POTS. I guarantee you. I don't know anybody else that has a built out program like this. If you guys know, please send it to me so that I can review it, so I can look at it. The only other person I think might come close to this is the POTS coach. I think that I don't know that she has a built out protocol though. I think she only does one-on-one coaching and talks through her clients. And I think she basically only touches the fitness component to this stuff. I don't think she touches nutrition, hydration, heat tolerance, lifestyle factors. She did a really good post on step count. She did a very good post on steps. And I love that. It was amazing. It was very good. But Yeah, I don't think that she hits all these other things that are big variables and big factors in POTS. I don't think. She might, but I don't think. So if you guys know anybody else, any other influencers that have built out programs like this, please send them my way so I can go check them out. I like genuinely want to check them out. Not like I'm going to like review them and then hate on them or anything like that. I just want to see what they have so I can make something better. To be honest, I want to make something that I want to make. My big long-term goal, I want to make a place where you can go, that you have all the information possible, that you don't need to go anywhere else. So my goal, I've talked about this on other podcasts. This is kind of a podcast, right? Live stream. My goal is to build something out so big that I even talk to functional medicine doctors that I trust. So like people like Dr. Berg, what's his name? Lynch, Dr. Ben Lynch. Somebody said Berg earlier, I think. Dr. Ben Lynch, where I talked to Chris Masterjohn, where I talked to Dr. Tyler Pansner. A bunch of people that I trust that I think could add a bunch of value, and then have like documents that I've collaborated on them with, for supplements and, different lifestyle things, that methylation and genome reports, stuff like that. I want to have the place that you go for the information, everything POTS related. I have big goals, big aspirations, big dreams. I've started to build this stuff. I just want to keep building it. I want to have the place that you go. There's so many people with POTS. There's not really that many people in the big picture, but there's not that many people in the big picture. But there's enough people that are suffering, earned progress. I had to run uphill yesterday and my head was beating out my chest and I couldn't breathe. It was brutal. Was that on the program, mister? Was that on the program? I've been training one-on-one with Justin, so I went from the couch to that without having symptoms the next 2 days. It was in a counted run. Yeah, dude, sick. Well, that's great. That's awesome. It was in an accounted run. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. See, there's proof in the pudding right there, guys. Read the chat. Read the chat. He's been training with me for 5 weeks. Yeah. 5-ish weeks, I think. Oh, you're saying 4 weeks. I think it's been 5. I think this is the 5th week. Yeah. Just ran uphill. Did something super intense, so that's good. I'm happy to hear that, man. I'm super happy to hear that. Beth, I just got your notification that you have signed up for the POTSI program, the trial POTSI program. Dope. I'm super happy about that. Anybody else in the chat, go for it. Come on. Earned progress. If it wasn't for his help, I would be a mess still. I did what I could on my own, and it's only gotten better. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, dog. That's my dog right there. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the kind words. See, this is the stuff, guys. Like I talked about in like my last live or 2 lives ago, whatever, on my channel, that like, people think that everyone's out to get them and everybody's trying to like scam and whatever. And that may be true. I think that there's like a lot of functional docs and like mold experts that are trying to scam people with POTS. And this is like the proof is in the pudding, and there's other people in the program too that have the same experience. Or there's a testimony from one of my old clients, Mitchell, that I asked him if he could put in there because he literally went from not being able to leave the house to he's working full time as a trainer. He's basically like running a gym now. And we had a massive body transformation. A lot of my clients go from like POTSI people to just normal exercise clients. And it's amazing because it's so fulfilling. Like it's fulfilling. Like I don't have to lie. I don't have to scam. I know that if I'm doing God's work and I'm working through truth and I'm working with the best intentions, that the truth is going to come out results are going to happen, and you're not going to be able to dispute anything. You're not going to be able to dispute that the process works. The process works. But you have to trust the process, and you have to listen. You have to do the things that, and this is for anything, right? You have to, if you want success in whatever avenue you're in, you have to listen to your boss. You have to listen to your trainer. You have to listen to your mentor. If you don't fully listen and you don't give them, if you don't have the ability to put your ego aside for a minute and just break down and let the person help you, you're never going to get the results. You're never going to get the stuff that you want, right? So, earned progress. Or Beth, I just want to get out of my victim mentality and get on with my life. Beth, get in that forum. Get in that forum and start talking to people. I mean, you'll enjoy the people. Mike, the earned progress commenter right here, he's amazing in that chat, in that forum. He communicates with everybody. He posts something almost daily that's positive. I mean, that's where you need to be if you want to get out of the victim mindset. You need to get around other people who aren't victims and who want to take responsibility for their lives. I mean, genuinely, right? Like, misery loves company. I say this on every live, especially in the POTS community. Misery loves company. Everybody wants to sulk in their emotions and in their shit. To be honest with you, like, everyone wants to feel bad, and everybody wants to relate to other people that feel bad, because it gives them, it detaches them from responsibility and to take action. Oh, other people are feeling the same way. Other people aren't, exercising positivity and exercising their mind and their victim mentality out of it. So why should I have other people that I can look to and relate to? And like, now we're all the same. So really, we are victims and there are things going wrong. But if you get around other people, right, you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. And that could even be true on the internet. Like, if you're playing video games or if you're in community forums, Reddit, Facebook, whatever it is, if all the content that you digest is negative content, well, guess what your mind is going to be like? It's going to be negative. If all the content that you digest is positive, if all the people that you're communicating with online are positive, if all the people on Call of Duty tell you that they're having sex with your mom, I'm just kidding. If all the people are doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. Like positivity is contagious. Results are contagious. People making money is contagious. People being around progress is contagious. If you want to, like, if you see your best friend, maybe not all people, but I know for me, when you see people doing better that are in your circle, when they're progressing, getting better, you're like, damn, bro, I want to get better. What do I do? What do I do? That's why I have mentors. That's why I have millionaire friends, that are like doing way, way better than I am, like way better, right? That's why I have these people that I can look to, that I can like ask for advice from. Like, dude, just do it. I mean, even $50 a month, I feel like, for mentorship or for like to be around the right community, like, you should have to pay a price to be around the right community. If you got it for free, then shit is eventually gonna creep its way in, right? Free is never amazing. When things are free, shit creeps its way in. When they cost a little bit of money, I don't think that $50 is much money at all for what you get. Especially just like, even screw the workout program stuff, even just the community that you get out of the $50, I think it's way worth the money. Like, way worth the money. The community that we're building, like the trajectory of where we're going, bro. I mean, just wait until there's like 200, 500 people in there and they're all just talking positive stuff. And everybody's like, we're walking again. I went to the grocery store again. I ate at a restaurant again. I ran a mile today. I ran 2 miles. I did a CrossFit competition. I did a powerlifting meet. I did a 5K. I did a marathon. Dude, just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Just freaking wait. That's what I'm in this for. I'm in this to create community, to help people. Like, that's what I want, man. That's what I want. Money's nice. Money's cool. Like, I have financial goals for sure, but I think that letting God work through me and working hard through God and creating something that can help people as first priority. And everything else comes after that, right? You do unto others and you do things for others. And obviously you try not to get taken advantage of in the process and stuff. But yeah, all the other stuff comes as a byproduct. It just will. Time and time again, it's proven to be true. So yeah, guys, I'm going to answer a couple more questions. So if you have questions or you have concerns or you have anything that you feel like would be worth me talking about on future lives or in videos, please write it in the chat right now. Look, my Apple Watch is telling me to stand. Write it in the chat. Ask me the question. Give me the concern. Give me topics, whatever you feel like. But yeah, I gotta go get ready for this speaking engagement that I have to do in a little bit. I just sat on live for an hour and 15 minutes and spoke almost nonstop, like no stopping. And now I got to go do that for 3 hours, almost 2 hours. I got to go speak to kids. To kids. Yes. Yes, I'll speak to kids, eh? Thanks, Beth. Appreciate it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very fun. Jazan, how can we get you in the community on here? If you're still in the chat, if you're still on the live, how can we get you on? I feel like that this would be a really good place for you to be too, because you're a wealth of knowledge. To be honest, you have a lot of things to say. You know about quite a bit of stuff. I feel like you could really add value in here. But how do we do that? Actually, Jazan, I know how to do it. I think I know how to do it. Jazan, hit me on my DMs on Instagram again and send me your email. Or did you do that? You would love to hear about progressions you did with different types of your clients and how you knew to wait progressing or go on. Yeah. So let me ask you guys this: if you guys would like this type of content or this type of live, I've been messing with the idea of going live with a client or going live maybe, I don't know, once a week or something like that with a client. I've been thinking about doing that. And I think that could be really useful because then we can like show before and afters. And my website will have a lot of this stuff too. We can show before and afters. We can talk about, we can talk about, sorry, I'm reading the chat. We can show before and afters or whatever, and then talk about, where they were and how we decided to get them out of where they were to progress, because not everybody looks the same. Most people don't look the same. Admittedly, I try out, like an outline, sometimes I try out outlines that I had for other people with certain people. I try that out sometimes. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there needs to be adjustments made, but yeah. So I think that could be useful content for you guys. Dana Bear. Hi everyone. I just found out I have POTS and we're going on a family vacation in a few weeks. What can I do between now and then to prepare? Dana, that's highly individual. I'm not saying that we can't answer that question, but I think it really depends on where you're at currently. So you got diagnosed with POTS, but what does that mean? Like, what's your function? How high functioning are you? Can you drive your car? Do you go to the grocery store still? Or are you basically like immobile? It sounds like, I mean, you probably wouldn't be having a family vacation in a few weeks if that were the case. But where are you at specifically? What I would say is make sure that you stay well hydrated. Make sure that you stay well nutritioned. Make sure that you're walking so that you can get some, get some conditioning in. Don't do any sort of formal type of cardio if you just got the diagnosis of POTS. And also, Dana, again, I don't know where you're at, and I feel like I've said this a million times in this live so far, but it's because I believe in it. Hit the description of this video and go sign up for 2 weeks for free to my program. Get in my app because there's a bunch of resources on how to hydrate. Here, I'll read it to you. There's resources on how to hydrate, supplement recommendations, step counts, and goals, why they're so important in dealing with a flare. Today, I'll be adding into their stuff about heat tolerance and lifestyle stuff, all that. So it's going to be a really big wealth of knowledge. So what I would do, I would go in there, I'd sign up for the app. You get 2 free weeks. After that, it's $50 a month, but you also get a forum where you can ask these questions and talk to other people who are positive. They're not negative. They're not doomsday. You get a forum where you can go in there, talk about your progress, talk to people about what their strategies are and stuff like that too. And then I'll get in there as well. But definitely sign up for that because you have all of these resources that you can reach on, you can click on and read for yourself. And it's a really good place to be. It's a really good wealth of knowledge. So we're trying to build up that community. Head there. That's going to be the best place for us to answer these questions actually. Okay. And we can get more specific about your stuff too. And you can message me in there, like a whole bunch of stuff. So go ahead and hit that link, sign up for the app. And that'll be the best way. Jazan, interviews sound really helpful. Okay, dope. I'm going to try to figure this out. I'm going to try and get one of my client Mitchell for next week. I'm going to try to do that. Also, can you guys, or do you guys see, or do you get notifications when if I post a status on my YouTube? Like, you can do these community messages on your page. Do you guys get notifications of that? Like 9 days ago, I posted, I am live now, come join, talking about how POTS Reddit is ruining your health. I got 1 like on that. 7 months ago, I did I'm live right now. And it was, I don't know. Do you guys get that? I have 3 children that I can still take care of, but it's very difficult to do anything. Thank you so much. Yeah, of course. Like I said, hit that link. You're going to find a bunch of resources in there. It's going to be super helpful. I want to help you. Jazan, I just saw your DM. I just got it. So I'm going to get you in the app. I know how to do it. I just thought about it. And then we'll talk about some other stuff later on. I'm going to get you in the app though. I know you're in the Netherlands, but I think I have this figured out. It's all about problem solving, fam. Problem solving. Just turn notifications on. Okay, Beth. Beth, in the app, you should be sent a message soon, and you should be linked to, because I don't see you in the app yet. Let me see. I only just changed my notifications options on your channel to receive all notifications, so I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even know that that's what you had to do. So you guys know more than I do. Beth, I think that you have to activate something else with the app. It's going to take you through stuff like, it's going to ask you a medical history PAR-Q form. So go ahead and do that. Fill all that stuff out. because that'll give me more information on like what exactly you can and can't do. But yeah, fill out the PAR-Q, and you should be able to get started with everything today. It'll take you through week 1 today, and then you'll move through it. So, all right, you guys, I got to go. Dana Bear, hit that link in the description. Join the app, join the community. I know it's going to be a big wealth of help for you. I look forward to seeing you in there. When Beth, Dana, Jazan, when you guys get in there, hit the forum right away and go put a comment and put a comment in there. Let us know that you're in there. We're going to welcome you. And yeah, let's build out something cool. Yeah, that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. I'm excited for everything that's coming, you guys. I'm very excited. So anyways, thank you guys so much for being on today. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, tomorrow I probably won't be on live. Sunday, I'm going to try to do it like in the, I'm going to try to go live in the afternoon on Sunday. So I think like more like afternoon, later, you know, that type of thing. And then talk more. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being on here. Hit that like button if you haven't yet, guys. It helps push this in the algorithm. I look forward to seeing you guys all on the app. I'm super happy. I'm excited for you guys to be there. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next live. Peace out. Goodbye.